All right, so greetings, and welcome to Eureka Math Squared. We're hanging out with Grade 6 Module 4, Lesson 14, and today is all about factoring expressions. Ta, 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 ta. Right, so this is again once about all about the distributive property. Do, 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 do. Property. Okay, so now in the last lesson, what we were doing was we were actually distributing. So if we had a problem like this, let's say something like this, we would distribute the 2 to both of those terms, right, inside the parentheses using multiplication. So we would wind up with something like, let's say, if we distribute that 2 to that 4x, we would literally say, hey, it's 2 times that 4x plus, right, there's that plus. Then we would distribute the 2 to the 6 using multiplication as well. So we would have 2 times 6. So the 2 times the 4x and the 2 times the 6, and there they are. And then we can go ahead and multiply, right? So these guys here would give me an 8x, right? And this guy here would give me a 12. And we would be done, right? So that's how that guy worked. So, but now we're going to go in reverse fashion. We're actually going to factor, which means if we take something like this, we're going to remove, in a sense, factor out or divide out a common factor from both terms. Right. So if I were to say to myself, hey, what could I actually divide both of these guys by? I could say I could divide both of them by 2. Actually, I could divide both of them by 4 as well. Right. You pick. What you want to do ultimately is pick the biggest value that you can factor out. Right. And that would actually be a 4. So how that would work is I want to divide both of these guys by 4. So I'm going to start with my 4, put it on the outside, right, of this little multiplication deal, divide each by the 4 and see what I have left, right? So I would have the 2x over here, right? And then the 12 divided by the 4 would give me a 3. So there you go. Now, if I redistribute that 4, I should be back where I started from, right? So 4 times the 2x, there's my 8x, and the 4 times the 3, there's my 12. Okay, so now but you can actually factor out a lot of things, but what you want to try to do is factor out the greatest common factor of both terms, right? So let's just look in here. So this guy here, they kind of set us up a bit. They said, okay, we're going to factor out a 3 from both of these guys using subtraction. Right, there's the subtraction. So basically, I'm going to say, hey, what's 36 divided by 3? Well, that's 12. Right, well, what's 15 divided by 3? Well, that's 5. There you go. So if I were to just check things out, I'd just redistribute that 3. Right, it's 3 times 12, there's my 36. And then the 3 times the 5, there's my 15. Okay, so not so bad. Here they're saying, okay, so we factor out something, I don't know, but I'm left with a 9 plus 4. What they're asking is, well, what did you divide by? What did you actually divide by to get a 9, right? So let's see. That must have been a 7, right? A 7. So if I divided, let's see, each of these guys by 7, I should wind up with these guys over here, right? So 36 divided by a 7, there's my 9. 28 divided by 7, there's my 4. There you go. You want to check it? Just redistribute. 7 times 9, there's my 63. 7 times 4, there's my 28, and I am done. Okay, so let's just take a look over here. Right? What can I take a look at both of these terms and say, hey, what can I factor out? I could factor out a 2 if I wanted to, but they want the greatest common factor, right? Between the 8 and the 40 there, I could probably factor out an 8, right? So if I factor out an 8, what am I left with? Well, what's 8x divided by 8? Well, just x, right? Minus, what is 40 divided by 8? Well, that is 5. There you go. Now you want to check? Just redistribute. 8 times x, there's my 8x. 8 times 5, there's my 40, and I am good, right? Now for this guy, let's see. Let me get rid of that thing. I just want to use 2 things, right? So I want to divide by both of these guys. What can I divide both of these guys by? Probably a 6, I think, right? Let's see. So if I divide out a 6 or factor out a 6, right, using plus this time, right, because this is addition, I should get a 4h, right, on one side. And on this side, I should get a 5m. Now, just to know, let me show you a little trick here, that you do have the greatest common factor. Just look inside. Say, hey, can I factor out anything else from those two terms? If not, then you actually have the greatest common factor. But let's just redistribute that 6. So 6 times 4h, there's my 24h. 6 times 5, right? 6, 5, that's 30. 30 times m is 30m, and I am good. All right, so that's the deal with that, but let's just have some more fun here. I don't want to stop the video this quickly. I did mark off a couple of things. So page 184. Let's cruise on down. Here's a whole mess of them. Let's have some fun. Let's see. I'm trying to pick out something. They don't have. There's something in here I want to actually show you, but they're not giving me some good samples, so I might have to make one up. So let's see. Yeah, let's change this guy. Let's just say this guy had a B right there, like that. A B also. Now, if I were to try to factor this out, because you can factor out values, but you can also factor out variables, right? So in here, I could actually factor out a 7, but they also share, I could factor out a B. So if I put a B over here, now watch this, right? They should have put a sample in there. I could factor out a 7B. Now, if I factor out a 7B from 7AB, what am I left with? I'm left with A, right? And if I factor out a 7B from this guy, I'm left with a 7, actually just a 7, right? There you go. Now, if I redistribute, right, 7B times A, there's my 7AB, and then a 7B gives me my 49B. And there you have it. I guess I should move this guy in a little bit. There you go. Right? So let's see. What do we have here? Factor out of 15? No. How about a 5? Factor out of 5. There you go. Using subtraction this time, right? Always check your symbol in there. Let's see. So that should be a 5G, right? Because 5 times 5G gives me 25G. And I should have a 3K because 5 times 3K gives me my 15K. After a while, you get really good at this, right? So this guy here, I'd like to put that little division bar just to show, hey, what am I dividing by, right? So I'm factoring out a 4 in this case, right? Now you could factor out a 2, but they want the greatest value that I can factor out. So it looks like I'm left with a P over here because 4 times P is times P is 4P, and 16R divided by 4 gives me 4R. Because if I redistribute that 4, I get that 16R. And there you have it. All right, so you can keep on going with this stuff, but it's a lot of fun. All right, so if you know your multiplication tables and you have a good sense of factoring, you're going to be really great at this. But that's the deal. All right, so that was the lesson. I hope you enjoyed that. And that's it. So have a great one. All right, take care. So long. Bye-bye.